How do you survive a breakup? I don't think you can tell someone how to survive a breakup. I think you can always give your opinion. I think surviving a breakup is something that has to be shown. So for the life of me, I wanted to film this story yesterday, and I tried so many times to film it, but I couldn't get it out. I could not get the message across that I was trying to send to you guys, and I just couldn't get the story across. And in the end, after everything calmed down, it hit me. An incident happened last night, and I realized that you cannot always listen to everybody. You can't always believe in everybody, because everybody don't have your best interest in heart. And it sucks, because it's like, it doesn't matter if they have a black curtains or white curtains, they might not have your best interest in heart. And you have to, once you realize that who they really are, you have to take them for face value and not try to change them. And when I was since I've been going through my breakup, I don't know if you guys know that I've been going through a breakup. That's the reason why I came back to North Carolina. I hadn't accepted my own reality. I couldn't accept what was really happening. I kept thinking that there had to be more to the story than what was right there in front of me. And over the last month, I had to realize that there is no more to this story. It's like I can't read deeper into what's happening, because it is what it is. I know that sounds so weird. So let me tell you guys what happened. So me and my ex, we broke up a year ago. And ever since we broke up, it seemed like everything that I wanted to happen in my life has happened. Everybody that was supposed to be in my life has came back into my life, if they were gone, or they've came into my life since we broken up. So with me saying that, when we broke up, I hadn't talked to my ex in so long, and I did everything I could to try to make a relationship work. I flew back and forth to see him. You know, I begged him, I called him, I did everything I could, to a point where I just couldn't do it no more, and I had stopped. And it seemed like just when I had stopped just when I gave up hope on our relationship, he came back. He came back into my life in such an unexpected way. And I was so excited, guys. Like, you don't understand. Like, I'm thinking, oh my God, everything is going great. You know, the company that I had a vision of building is starting to become. And, you know, I have a great situation going on here with my roommate. Like, life is good. You know, maybe this is the change I needed for me and Jeremy's relationship to work. So he asked me for a favor. He asked me to watch a dog that we had bought together. And I had no problem watching Bubba. You guys see him on my Instagram, my Facebook, all that stuff. I had no problem watching them. The only thing was, it was originally a 2-week agreement. He asked me if I had a place for him. I asked my roommate. He said, yeah, Bubba can come here. That's no problem. So when he came here, you know, he said, I'm only going to be here for 2 weeks. Things are going to be fine. And I should have known something when he brought his dog cage. And I'm thinking, if Bubba's only going to be here for 2 weeks, why are you bringing his dog cage? But he only brought a little bit of food. So I'm like, okay, there is no way he's thinking that this dog's going to survive off of this food for 2 weeks. So in the process, you know, I called him up and I was letting him know we had began to talk every single day. And I got so excited, because I'm like, this is still the love of my life. You know, I'm really excited to be talking to him, because especially every single day, I went from not talking to him at all to talking to him every single day. And it was just, it's like I got that butterfly feeling again, guys. It's like, if you ever been in a long-term relationship, connecting with someone who you feel like you gave your whole heart and soul to, when you feel like that you're on a verge of making things work again, you get so excited and you look at any and everything as a possibility. I have no makeup on. So we was talking every day, and in the process, I was afraid to tell him how Bubba was really acting, because when he asked me originally to keep Bubba, he said, you're the only one that can handle him. So I felt like, oh my God, he's trusting me with something. He's trusting me with something that's so precious and so dear to him. And I'm like, he must actually see something in me that I didn't think he saw. So I was afraid to let him know how Bubba was acting, and Bubba was really acting up. He was biting and growling, and he had tore his cage up. And I started to kind of hint towards it, but I always put it back on myself. And so so in the middle of 2 weeks, I said, you know, if I get my own place before you come back, I would love to have Bubba stay with me. He was like, oh, okay, yeah, I was hoping you would say that, because I decided that I'm going to stay here in Florida. I'm a lot happier. And with me not being a caregiver anymore, I think this is the best move for me. So while we was on the phone, he let me know. I asked him a couple times. I'm like, okay, so what's going on with the house? Oh, well, I'm selling the house. And I was like, wait, you know how bad I want to come back to Michigan. You know, we bought that house together. Why don't you let me and Bubba move into that house? He was like, oh, no, the house is probably more than you could afford. And I was like, well, let me rent it out and I'll pay you rent for me and Bubba to live in the house. And he was like, no, I just don't think that's a good idea. And I was so confused. I'm like, why don't you want us to live in a house that we bought together? Especially knowing, if you know that my whole goal for this whole, every time we had ever talked, he knew how much I loved Michigan and how much I was just like a ride or die for Michigan, and I wanted to be in Michigan. That's where I had my degree at. I didn't understand why he wouldn't let me live in the house that we bought together if he wanted to go live in Florida. So after he told me no, I was just like, okay, well, she's like, I'm trying to find a house in Florida, so I just need to keep Bubba while I do that. And I was like, all right, that's fine. So after we got off that phone, it seemed like all the conversation that we had subsided. Like, he didn't go out of his way to call me. I would try to call him. He wouldn't answer the phone. I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute, why are you not answering the phone? So for a full month, guys, it went like that. And the only conversation that I've had with him was with his mother. And things with Bubba has started to get a lot worse, to the point where my roommate, the person who owns this house, who I'm renting this house from, was like, your dog can't stay here. Bubba had bit both of my roommates. He had bit me, and then he bit my brother. And then my roommate was like, you know, Bubba can't stay here. You know, my insurance won't cover it. I need you to start looking for a place for Bubba. And that kind of put me on the spot, because I wasn't prepared to move out as soon, and especially with a pit bull. So I was like, well, maybe if I get him fixed, or maybe if I can take him to a boarding house, things will get better. And since Bubba is my dog, but he's technically not my dog, like his paperwork is in Jeremy's name, if I wanted to get him fixed or do anything with him, I had to have Jeremy's approval, at least verbally. And I could not contact him to save the life of me. So to make things worse, guys, now this is where it got really bad. I contacted his mother. I'm like, hey, you know, if Bubba's going to be here, I need some more food for him. I need his vitamins. And I was like, the reason I'm asking for these things is because Bubba's behavior has made it impossible for me to go to work. Like, no one will watch him. People are afraid to watch him because he has become a master of breaking out of his cage. So I need some type of assistance with him. And she said, oh, that's fine. You know, I haven't heard from Jeremy in a month. You know, what I'll do is I'll go over to the house and I'll mail his food and all his vitamins and stuff to you. And I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, thank you. That's no problem. Because at this point, it's going on 4 weeks that I had Bubba. And only me and Jeremy had not talked. We only talked the first 2 weeks I had him. After that, we hadn't talked. So with that being said, at this point I'm freaking out, because I'm like, okay, my money is running low. I got this pit bull that's biting everybody. Nobody wants to watch him. I can't get him fixed, you know, without Jeremy's consent. So I'm blowing up Jeremy's phone. He did not answer the phone. And 2 days after that conversation, she texted me and said, you have a box coming. Now I'm thinking that I have a box coming full of Bubba stuff. Guys, I was wrong. What I had coming, I did not expect. When I got that box, it was full of my things. He had packed up everything. I'm sorry, it just hurts. He had packed up everything from the kitchenware to the curtains that was in the house that belonged to me. He had shipped it to me. And the reason why I say he did it was because his mom didn't know what all of my things were and all of his things were, and he had his daughter and things over there, and it's like everything that they brought was just my stuff. The pots and pans and everything was just my stuff. His family didn't know how to separate our things. I know that for a fact. So he packed up our stuff and sent it. That's why I say what I said about it being delivered. And it was total surprise to me, because I'm thinking, if you're in Florida trying to find a house, how did you have time to box up all my clothes and dishes and pots and pans and everything and mail it to me? And on top of that, you haven't contacted me going on a month now about this dog, but you can spend $500 to $600 shipping my things to me. I I contacted his mom that day and I said, you know, Jeremy has enough time to box up all my things and give them to me. Why doesn't he have enough time to contact me about his dog? I was like, I need his financial assistance, because right now, if I don't get any assistance, I'm going to have to put him to sleep. It had got so bad where my roommate, he had bit my roommate, and my roommate said, y'all need to leave tonight. And we end up going and sleeping in my car because I tried to take him to my mom's house. He broke out of the cage and tried to bite my 2 little brothers, and my mom said she couldn't handle it. And it was freezing cold outside, so he couldn't go outside. So we ended up sleeping in my car until about 3 in the morning. And my roommate called and said, what's going on? You know, how are you okay? Did you find a place? And I said, you know, we're just sleeping in my car. He said, go by a muzzle. Bring the dog in the house. Y'all can sleep in that bedroom tonight, but you have to be out of this house because my insurance is not going to cover that dog. And I sent a video of us sleeping in the car to his mom, his brother, his brother's girlfriend, and his sister. Everybody who he said he was around. And their response was no response. Their response was blocking me on their social medias. And he sent me a text the next day saying, please leave my family alone. Leave my friends and my family alone. So for the longest, I didn't want to document my breakup because I had hope, guys. I had hope that we would make it work. I had hope that the 3 years that we spent together wasn't in vain, and I refused to take it for face value. I always thought there was more to this than what is being presented to me. And when I received my boxes, and when I received that don't leave my family alone message, I had to say, this man wants nothing to do with me. He wants nothing to do with his dog, and he is showing it. He is showing it his own way.